Ladies and gentlemen, in today's video, I'm going to show you what it takes to become a top 1% chess player. And what I roughly mean by that is getting to around 1800 playing strength. Everybody has a different perception of what top 1% is. You know, when they talk about the economy, they're like, top 10 of 1% or top 1%, or nobody really knows. But I'm going to show you what it takes to get past intermediate level and into advanced territory. We're gonna look at openings, middle games, end games. 4 subscriber games were submitted to me in ELO range. And that's the entire intro of the video. We're gonna have a great time. Thank you to everybody who submitted. And also, today is October 24th, 2023. I don't know when you're watching this in the future. I don't know if you still watch the channel. I don't know if the channel still exists. But today, I would just like to say, is a very special day in my life because today is the official launch of How to Win at Chess. This is a chess book designed to be read by absolute beginners. You could pick up this book and not know anything about the game of chess, and you can end it around 1300 playing strength in skill. It has QR codes. It is the first chess book that I know of in history that has QR codes. There is no chess notation that you have to know. It's got over 500 illustrated diagrams. This is my life's work. I spent my entire childhood being bullied for playing chess, not telling anybody I played chess, not talking about it in school or to anybody that I knew. And now it is almost weird if you don't play chess. It is almost weird if you don't give chess a try. So thank you to all of you for being a part of the chess boom, whether you have the book or not, whether you have my paid courses or not. That's not what it is about for me. Just thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for watching. For those of you that do have some of the paid content, thank you for that. Those of you that ask me to write birthday messages to your kids because chess is such a big deal in your household, regardless of what age you are, and for everything in between. Just thank you. And the book is out. And maybe there will be a sequel in the future. So it's incredible to be part of this. And links are in the description. Available in USA, UK, Europe, German language, Spanish language, Australia, New Zealand, mostly anywhere in the world. Just thank you for being a part of this. Thank you. That's all. That's the intro. Let's get into some games. The first one is by a 1577. Now, you might remember I said top 1%. 1577 is not top 1%. It's like top 3%. But we still have to start somewhere. So 1577, rapid game. We have e4, e5. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to figure out where the opening ends. Knight f3, bishop c5. That is not a real opening. That is just a full loss of a pawn. At the 1500 level and the 1600 level, you still see this chapter called, this little area called stupid openings. Like, you still have people who are, look, I don't know who's playing with the black pieces. You're this person in the 1600, but clearly this person has some sort of tricky, trappy thing that they like to play. You are going to see that vanish at 1800, at 1900, 2180. People at 15, 1600 are still doing goofy stuff, so you have to know how to punish it. You have to know how to play if your opening courses don't work. D4, this is called the Bush-Gas Gambit. It's the official name of this opening, but this opening is just bad, okay? There are much better openings. Knight to F6. Look at this move. This is a very, very, very tricky move. Essentially, black is saying, take my bishop so I can take your knight and guarantee that I win back one of the pawns. Now, even here, white can probably just play knight c3. And in general, the way you tame a stupid opening is you just play solidly and don't let your opponent have fun. Like, you know what I would do here? I mean, I guess there is queen to e2. But if you really want to be solid, just trade all their pieces and be slightly better for the entire game. Bishop to f4, long castles. Don't let them have fun. White plays f3. I don't hate this move at all. This is a great move. You defend your center, and now you are just ready to finish developing. Black goes bishop b4 check. Look how much time black spent. Black was clearly rattled by this move, even though it was just a solid move. Bishop b4. Now white built up a big wall and just went knight c4. Now white's completely winning. White won a center pawn and just has a good center, right? Very solid center, and won a pawn, as a bonus. And now white just has to consolidate. Now, e5, by the way, is a very nice move, punishing black setup, but it's not actually threatening to win anything because there's a pin. So black could move the knight and then maybe move the bishop, but maybe not, actually. Maybe not. Maybe the bishop is just purely trapped now that I'm looking at this. Maybe the bishop's just trapped after this. Well done. Look at that. Now, again, a lot of people here might just go bishop e2 and castle. I love e5. I just thought this bishop wasn't trapped. That was an oversight by me. Bishop, look at this. Just winning the bishop. Punishing this bad opening, taking, and just bringing the knight back to d2. But a mistake. 1500 is not perfect. You should, at this point, be thinking, how is my opponent going to bother me? My opponent wants knight e3, or knight f4, or queen h4, right? This is allowing too much. And look at this, 1.3 seconds spent. In chess, we like to say knight on the rim is dim, right? Oh, I don't want to put my knight on the edge of the board. No, superseding concepts. This is what I like to call superseding concepts. You know, you don't want to put your knight on the edge of the board. So if you have an option, you should obviously put it here. No, because now you have this. So in this particular case, it was fine to put the knight on the edge of the board. It would have came back and you wouldn't have blocked your bishop. And now look at this. Now here comes black. Tactical, sharp, right? Knight e4. Now take, and bishop to b7, trying to put pressure. Now white, this is the most clutch move that white played. White in this position could have just been like, oh, I gotta guard my knight, and then lost the game after d5. Lost the game. Just, you're gonna lose, because d5, f5. So white responds here by going, this is the threat. Danger levels. Bishop to g5. A very, very well-timed move, using the knight that is still pinned. The queen now goes back to e8, and now we defend the knight with the king. Now, we could have just done that. We could have probably just played king d3, but it's better to play bishop g5 because it's a free developing move. You're just getting a full bishop out, and I can't go f6 because of this pin. Now, I don't know if white saw all of this when they played bishop g5, but that was a fantastic move. And now look at this danger levels. Your bishop is hanging. A lot of you would go, I gotta go bishop f4, and then takes, and then trap the rook. I'm so smart. No, what's worth more than a bishop? Boom! The queen is trapped. Trapped, as in it can only go to e6, and at that point I'm gonna trade, I'm gonna grab the bishop. Watch this. Boom, boom. By the way, best move. If you try to get greedy, rook takes f3 is check. So white, seeing this, simplifies down, finishes development, doesn't rush out with the knight because white knows it's not trapped, and let's see this conversion process. See, that is excellent stuff. Do you know how many beginners here would just snap take this? Just allowing in activity? Look at white just closing the position. Rook f4, getting the rooks off the board. A great move. Rook e1, I mean, I would have taken on f4, but rook e1, I guess they wanted to play rook e4. Now they take rook e4 as a forced rook trade. Knight c6, take, and let's watch this conversion. c5, knight c4, take the pawn. Black should not be trading knights there. I would go for the d7 pawn. We got to get the d7 pawn. Now we can stop. Let's reroute our knight. En passant. Okay, en passant. Right, at 1500, they still don't remember about that rule. But knight e4, stop everything, promote the pawn, and in this position, black resigned. Excellent game. Dealt with a goofy opening in a perfect way. Took a chance in the opening, not just like, oh, I gotta get castled. No, punishing, unpinning, excellent simplification. Bad move. You're not gonna play a perfect game at 1570. Bad move. Knight on the rim would have been fine because you would have gotten to castle. This was definitely blundered, but good consolidation, saving the king. Bishop g5 was just unbelievable. Amazing move. Now, let's keep going. Another game where Gotham subs, 1790 this time. Now, look at this. This is very different stuff. We have a Taimanov Sicilian, a mainline Sicilian defense. No BS. Now, white could play the Alapin, white could play the Smith-Morra Gambit, but white plays the main line. White plays the main line. Look at this. Bishop e3. This has all been played many, many times before. The principal move against b5 is to take on c6, but let's look at white just playing all of the ideas of this opening. Black now wants to fight on the queen side with bishop b4. Now, if you want to be a top 1% chess player, you have to not just know your openings. You have to be able to explain the ideas of your openings to a child. What are black's ideas in this opening? Who is going to understand their opening better? Take, and now white should be playing for bishop to f3. White does that. First white goes queen d4. Don't know why white played queen d4. I think white was trying to prevent b4, but bishop f3 was very strong, and now bishop f3. And now yes! This is exactly what we want. In the Sicilian, if white can strike first, look at this very coordinated effort. If white can strike first, what they're going to do is they're going to open up the position for their attack. And black is going to feel very airy here, like a windy day in summer. And you're wearing a tank top. Knight d7. Now, something is cooking here. Something is cooking up. The Sicilian is one of the most tactical openings in chess. Knight d7 was not a good move. Black does not have an understanding of the Sicilian. All right? They have to time when they play certain moves. You can't just play b5 anytime you want in this opening. Bishop e3, b5, it's a big commitment. It's a big commitment to play b5. You might want to develop your bishop first, to b4, for example. And then, if you're going to do it this way, you got to get this bishop. Look at this. Look how far behind black. Black's still not developed. Pawn takes. And now these three pieces are all intertwined because the queen can't guard this and this. And white, look at this, completely winning. 15 moves. Boom! Now, a lot of people here would panic, take, and just go on to lose the game. Black had an idea. Black had a tactic. Bishop c5. Whoa. A lot of players panic here for white and go, oh, my queen is hanging, my bishop is behind that, I'm just gonna go here. And then after take, white, might play knight e4 check because that's a fork, and then it's an equal position. And a lot of intermediate players just still are in that beginner mindset where they make moves and then things happen. Every move is a surprise to you when you're a beginner in chess. You take on b7, you go, if queen takes, then this. But as you get better, you gotta go, but what about bishop c5? How does my opponent attack me? How can my opponent check me? How can my opponent take my pieces? How can my opponent attack me? You gotta see a move like bishop c5. But a very nice piece of calculation here by white. Queen takes g7, hanging a bishop with a check. But remember, you just took a bishop. So you have to keep this mental balance, or you could just read what's on the screen. White is up a bishop and a pawn. White loses a bishop, but after king to h1, this and this, they're both hanging. The only way this would not work is if queen takes b7 was a check. In fact, if queen takes b7 was a check, it would be mate. White would just block and then lose if this pawn was here. But it's not. So after this, completely winning position. White grabs a pawn on the way out, and now what white needs to do is white needs to play rook e1, f5, and just blast into black's king's position. b4. Knight e4, transferring the knight to the center. Black plays rook to c8. White plays rook e1, bishop to d4, and white does not wait. Seeing this, there are two ways to win a winning position. I always like to say this. You can either go for an endgame or go for checkmate. Knight g5. Queen is hanging here. Queen is threatening to take, not hanging. f7 is hanging to the queen. Rook e6 is a massive threat. And in this position, black played knight f6 and resigned. Black played knight f6 and fell back into begin. Look at this. 1800. Very good player. But fell back into the mindset of, I don't know what to do, so I'm going to attack the queen. And just like, but it's completely lost. If you play rook f8 here, I'll take on e6 because of the pin. So white won the skirmish. And sometimes, like in a fight, like in a fight, all right? Sometimes in a fight, guy takes a punch, other guy takes a punch, they both wrestle, they both punch a little bit more, like kicking each other, and it's back and forth. Or sometimes you get Volkanovski, Makhachev 2. Head kick, knockout. That's it. And sometimes a couple of punches are exchanged, one guy's knocked out. Bishop b7, bishop c5, queen g7, and when this was all over, it was white who emerged beyond a level that you need to even focus here, and that was very well done. Why did this happen? Black plays the Sicilian, but doesn't know it. Black just, you cannot finish the opening setup. Black was done with the opening setup here, and within moments, got themselves under severe pressure. At this level, you cannot lose a game like this ever again. You lose a game like this once, it's just a matter of not understanding your opening that well. And that's what you have to improve on. White clearly carried out the ideas, and if you play an opening like the Sicilian, you hang on a knife's edge. So if you want to play a high-risk, high-reward opening, you have to have the necessary knowledge to navigate it on your own. Because if you play a type of opening where you make one mistake and it's all over, like here, not going to be sustainable in the long run. Speaking of, Here, Gotham sub is rated 1827, and white is rated 1960. So we are going higher and higher. Knight f3. Now, white here playing already, and black doing the exact same thing. Black, Grunfeld player. Clearly. Okay? Speaking of, the Grunfeld is one of those openings. If you don't know the ideas, you are going to die. It is such a complex opening. It's a fascinating opening. And the idea of the Grunfeld is essentially that when white plays a Queen's Gambit setup, like, for example, d4, knight f6, c4, g6, and some of you don't like when the board is highlighting, like a different color. When I analyze games directly, this is unfortunately the logic of the board. On a regular analysis board, it's not like this. Instead of going here and playing a King's Indian defense against e4, in the Grunfeld, you strike in the center right away. And effectively, you try to attack white's center with your pieces from long range. White likes to have something like this. In the particular game in question, that's not really what's happening. Black plays d5, take. White goes e4. And again, black wants to fight against the center with the knight and with the bishop. So black goes knight c6. Okay? Knight a5. Let me refresh. That was, I don't know why the clocks are not updating. All right, I will refresh this game completely because for some reason the clocks decided to break. E4, D4, knight C6. Outstanding. Look, both players have 16 minutes. 15:40 and 16. At this level, they know the opening. Now they need to think on their own. So black knows that black is going to park the knights on the edge of the board and pressure this. Maybe go bishop G4. Maybe E6 and C6. The knight will dance into this square. Right, here comes C6. Exactly what you're supposed to do. And now white spends 2 minutes and 30 seconds, plays bishop G5. Okay. Pinning the pawn to the queen. What I would do here is I would play H6. My logic for attacking this bishop is, can it go there and maintain this position? No. No, because they would lose it. I mean, you need to like be, you know, you gotta like not be so scared here. Maybe queen D6, queen G6 you have to find. But that would be my logic. But okay, I don't hate black's next move, which is taking on D5. And then knight C4. Essentially, black decides, okay, white is gonna have this pawn. I'm gonna target B2. I'm gonna target this. I have a good position. I'm executing the plans of the Grunfeld. I'm transferring my pieces on the queen side. You know, white can't play a move like B3 because I'll take. And then after take, I could take the rook. But actually, in the Grunfeld, it's a little scary. So, you know, with black, you still have to defend yourself. You might not even be better. That's how the Grunfeld works, unfortunately. Queen E2. And now, rook E8. Rook E8 is just trying to defend E7. And next, black will figure out what they're going to do. Are they going to play here? Are they going to try to play for E6, make sure they don't hang the queen, right? If I was playing white here after rook E8, I'd probably just go rook D1 and then rook E1. And if black plays like bishop F5, knight to D4, just try to make progress with my position. But rook D1 is played. And black goes for what they think is a tactic. Black goes for knight takes B2. Because at the end of the day, you could be 1800, but your brain is still going to go back to tactics brain. The idea here is the queen is attracted to the knight, not like that, and then is pinned here, so knight A4. And actually, the best move here, believe it or not, is knight takes A4 and getting the 3 pieces. The 3 pieces here are better than this queen, 100%. 100%, because rook C1, knight C4, knight E5. And this is actually a moment where I'm not sure Mathlete knew that. Even as a 1900 or 1830, you can learn things in chess. And believe it or not, more often than not, in a position with more pieces on the board, 3 pieces are better than a queen. Now, if it's like an endgame, and there's like queen and pawns versus 3 pieces, probably the queen is going to win because it's just too fast. But on a board like this, when white does not have any targets, 3 pieces for a queen is not that good of a deal. But neither player knew that. That's just kind of like a fundamental thing. It's just one of those things you add to your barrel of chess knowledge, all right? Your barrel of chess knowledge. This is my barrel right here. You keep adding stuff. You know, you get to 1900, 3 pieces for a queen. That's not something you need to learn when you're 700. There's nothing about 3 pieces for a queen in this book, all right? That's stuff you do later. Having said that, white got to this position. Also, one thing white is doing very poorly here, and subscriber is doing very well, time management. Doesn't matter if you're playing a 15-minute game, a 5-minute game, a 35-minute game. My friends, if you are playing a tournament, you're playing any competitive game, you cannot be behind on the clock by more than 50% of the opponent's time. And in this position, 12:26 versus 5:51, half of 12:26 is 6:13. It's a lot of time to be down. A lot. All right? So, rook e1. Queen takes d5. And in this position, black emerged 2 pawns up. Black won the tactical skirmish. Watch how effortlessly black plays. Bishop to e6. Everything is defended. We are going for the weakness. Rook e3. Trying to get 2 pieces for the rook. Trying to get this. 2 pieces for the rook. Black says, nope. Dance out of the way. Rook d3. Kick out the bishop. Finally, yes, now the bishop's going to have to be passive. There it is. Rook c8. Trade the rooks. Up material, effortless move. Knight d4, effortless. Don't even think about it. Rook c1, boom. Now this bishop is undeveloped. This is hanging, so we got to figure out what to do. Do we want to double our own pawns? If we move our bishop, we're going to lose this. So what do? Knight b4. Oh my, what a move. Getting the knight out of the way. The bishop can't be taken because the rook is hanging. And now the bishop slides forward. Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff here. This is superb. Bishop a3. The knight is hanging. If we move it, the bishop. Let's just grab the bishop. Bishop. All right, king takes. Now we got to guard our knight, right? No. Bishop takes d4. If you want to trade with me, we'll be in a rook and bishop endgame, but I'm up 2 pawns. I'm going to play e5, anchor my bishop to the center, take the open file, bring my king. But if this, fork, and now you're just in a completely lost rook endgame, rook c8, a5, keeping it closed, keep an eye on the pawn, bring the king. Don't like this. I would have taken a bit more space here. Instead of playing king f8, I think like f5 here, and maybe running the king. Don't hate this, but don't love it. A little bit slow, but great move. King e6, rook c5 or rook a8 are good, and just push the pawn. You just push the pawn. Just push the pawn. Just push the pawn. Because the rook is going to have to play defense. Just push the pawn. I don't like it's a little scattered, but we're going to get there in the end because at this level you don't make... And again, push the pawn. Push the pawn. Because the rook has to go back. Now we push, but we've lost a little more than I like here because now it's going to be, none of that had to happen. But I think black's just getting a little bit, excited and excellent, and that's it. And yeah, you just get back in time or there. And white resigns because, and that was fantastic. That was once again a player who managed to implement the game plan of their opening exactly right. They went for a tactic. It was mildly flawed. Only if you kind of get the 3 pieces for the queen is probably better. That was a piece of knowledge just missing at that level. And that's fine. That's like a very small thing. It was a good idea that they went for. It worked out. They won 2 pawns. What a flawless conversion. Like, trading the rooks, trading the bishops, trading these... Oh, my... I mean, it's just... Look at this. Done. All chances for this 2000 to play on, gone. Completely gone. Excellent job. And, last but not least, 2183. Actually, a gentleman by the name of Pablo, who actually helps out tremendously on Chess League courses. Those of you that have those. The QR codes material hosted in this book are actually hosted on Chesley. So let's see how he does. 2183 versus a 2046. It's a Queen's Gambit declined. White plays Bishop G5. And now we transpose to what's called the Cambridge Springs variation. You don't have to know the name. I'm not going to quiz you on that. White plays Knight D2, which according to theory is one of the best moves. Idea being that after pawn takes and this attacking this, you go here, here, and knight takes c4. And you're going to see that kind of happens. Bishop takes, queen b3. The players don't play the opening perfectly, but black actually here implements the plans slightly better, I would even argue. But d takes c4, allowing white to get the knight into the game. Maybe not necessary, but completely fine. Queen b4, and now it's the middle game. How do 2180 rated players play the middle game? They keep the tension. Queen c2 back. They target the pawn as long as everything is protected, and now they want to use the queen as a punching bag. a3 traps the queen, by the way. Pawn to a3 wins. Queen is completely trapped. So Pablo here with white knows queen's got to go, or the bishop's got to go. Bishop goes. What I would do here is I would chase out the queen, and I would bring my rooks to C and D, because this rook is going to want D, and this rook is going to want C. That's just like, that's where the board is going to open up. Instead, he does this, and the queen actually goes to g5, and I'm looking at this, and I'm like, okay, if I'm playing white here, what I might do in this position is I might play something like knight to e4, right? And the idea of knight to e4 is a trade that leaves me with pressure and monitoring that pawn, just preventing black from developing. That is one idea. Pablo plays even more aggressively. He weakens his structure a little bit because the queen can't go that way. So this queen cannot touch any of these squares. So it goes to h6. And now I'm thinking, I have eyes there. What if I went up and over? Rook f3. Look at that. Out of nowhere, an attack. Why? Because the opponent stuck around with the queen for too long. They should have went here. They should have gone to c7, brought the bishop, brought the rook. Chasing the queen does nothing. Chasing the queen does nothing. It's safe. Kick out the knight. Sniper on h2. But when you bring the queen over here, it's like waving a flag in front of a bull. f4, rook f3. Now, how do you defend yourself? Look at this. And rook h3 is not even the best move. The best move is apparently to go back to the center. I don't know how human that is. Knight e5, trying to restrain. Now, what does black want here? If I'm playing black here, I want to trade a few pieces and finish my development and get my rooks to the center. I want to fight back, all right? I want to fight back. b6, you make a move like that, you start weakening the light squares. You got to make sure you're not blundering anything. I like knight e4. I love this next move by black. Knight e4, looking for take, but black does what every good 2000, 2100 needs to do at this level, keeps the tension. Bishop to b7, pressuring the knight. Rook c8, rook d8. Remember, the side that is restricted by space would like trades. So, for example, if white plays rook e... I don't know why rook e1 would be played. Even a trade like this is completely fine for black because white is losing attackers. All right? Losing attackers. Rook f1, preparing for the attack, but now black should start coming in with the rooks. Rook c8. Apparently, rook f c8 was better. Queen b1, keeping that battery. Rook d8. Excellent. Or is it? Or is it? It's been 23 moves of high-level chess. At the earlier level, something already happened at this point. Some tactics, a blunder. Rook d8, kind of a absent-minded, like, I'm just putting both rooks on the open file. One inaccuracy. Black mentally left this knight here. Just like, it's there. He's not taking me. I'm not taking. We're staring at each other. One mistake, and white went boop. What's the big deal? Two knights attacking f7. So what? Everything else is a brick wall, right? Everything else. Black just went back to f8. Well, knight takes f7. And in this position, rook takes f7. It's not about that. Knight takes e6. At this level, you can spot the most absurd tactics. The queen is trapped. And after queen h8, it looks completely lost because white will go here. And all of a sudden, the whole position is disintegrating. If pawn takes, I'm going to win your queen, and then I'm going to go here. But as it turns out, rook to g8. So even though knight e6 is played, and this whole sacrifice is looming. At this level of chess, because you have such a high foundation of skill, things rarely end in flash knockouts. Things rarely end in crazy, absurd victories like this. But in this position, black resigned. And we can learn something from that. Black resigned because they thought they were just completely lost. They were like, after this, I lose. I'm going to lose my rook and my queen. If I try to save my rook, bishop h7 and queen g6. And that's it. And queen g7 and mate. So black thought it's over. Black is 2046 for a reason. You have to keep fighting. You got 2 minutes more. White only has 2 minutes. It is very easy in this position with playing white to blunder something like queen g6, queen g7, queen g7. take, and all of a sudden you're losing. You're losing. There is no pride and resignation. Fight till the end. You're up 2 minutes. This is so something to learn even in an early resignation. But it's amazing that at this level, one mistake can lead to something like this. Players played 23 great moves. It was a great fighting game, but it comes down to still a tactical shot, zigging and zagging in with the knight, and a resignation, just thinking that they were losing because I'm 2100, I can handle myself. I know I'm gonna lose. Why would I even prolong the game? I'm so mad. No. You just totally forgot about the counter shot from this bishop and this g-file. Something to learn all the time, right? Those other players, they'll play till mate. They won't resign like early. As you get better, you think resigning early is fine because you're like, well, I know what's gonna happen. Play it out till the end. My friends, you see, at 15 and 1600, it's still a little bit chaotic in the opening. At 17, 18, and 1900, people are studying. People are playing main lines, they're playing Grunfelds, they're playing open Sicilians, they're playing all sorts of stuff. They're playing what the top level players play. But they're also navigating the openings very well afterward. The margin of error is I mean, like they are really not making a lot of mistakes. So learn from these games. Learn from these games. You got to get through a string of games without making big blunders. And you know what will help? No, but seriously, it is a very, very proud day in my life. And if you made it 31 minutes into the video, tonight I'm doing a live fan event, my first ever in New York City. It's going to be it's like 200 people. It's sold out. So if I'm going to see you there, very exciting stuff. Please be normal. And I'll be signing books. And then there's another event on November 4th in New York City at the Catch and Ice Cream Shop. All this is in the description. Clifton, New Jersey, Barnes & Noble, November 14th. And if these all do well, y'all, might do more around the country, might go to London, might go to Europe, might go to many places. So that's how to get better at chess. That's the book. We keep moving right along. Now get out of here.